Hey y'all, welcome to the Clock Tower. I'm Colton here with Brandon. 5 cards, 5 minutes, talking about Dengeki Bunko, which comes out Friday. Brandon, what's our first card?
First up, we have this 3/2 Shauna. On play, heal, but also has climax combo with salvage trigger. It does require experience 6, but on attack, as long as you have the salvage trigger in play, and you have 2 more other characters, you can ditch 2 cards to burn 4, and if that damage is cancelled, you shuffle back equal to the number of other characters you have on stage, likely 4. So a potential burn, and if that burn does not stick, you decompress your opponent to make the next one more likely to. Pretty solid card.
It's a lot like the choice combo in Quince. It gives Shauna a real top end because this is also Neo Standard with Shauna. Yeah, I mean, this is just good. This is going to make Shauna better. Next, level 3 Tomika combo. It has Experience Self. On attack, Mill 2, Burn X. X is equal to the number of cards that are level 2 or higher. It also combos with Standby at the beginning of your attack phase. If you have Standby down, if this card is in the front row and you have 5 or fewer cards in hand, you can either stand this or pay 1, sack the CX, burn 3, if you have a full board. The play line is pretty clear with this. Stand by it to the front row, stand it with the combo, do your burn. If this lives cross turn, it sits at 10-5. If this lives cross turn, slam another standby the next turn. You have the burn on whatever of these Tomikas you have in the front row, plus you have an additional pay 1 and the fake cost of sacking the CX, because the CX doesn't give you anything anyway, to burn an additional 3. I think this is interesting. I don't know if it's great, but I think it's really fun. And there are some cards coming up that play really nicely into it.
No, absolutely. A potential that has multiple burns on a single card, as well as burns that do not require a climax, I think are really interesting, especially since you can bring this down as early as 2. Next up, we have this 2/1. Gains additional 5,000 power as long as you're playing the game. When you have the pants combo placed, you can search for another copy of this and then place it onto any spot on stage standing. 11k power is actually pretty strong power line, especially at 2. This card also has the ability of when it reverses your opponent, as long as there's a climax in play, reveal the top card of the deck. If it's level 1 or higher, add to hand. So you could play this in any variant of any deck and have any kind of climax down. As long as it gets a reverse, you could potentially plus cards to hand. Combined with the second card, the 1/0, it can actually potentially get that 2/1 onto stage even faster. The card itself gets 2k power during your turn. When it reverses an opponent, same kind of ability as the 2/1, where if it reverses your opponent, reveal the top card of the deck. If it's level 1 or higher, add to hand. The tertiary ability on this card is the important one, where you can place this card from stage to clock to spawn the 2/1 from your hand. Early as 1 with this card playing down from hand, or if you stand by this out at 0, you can have this out at 0 on your turn, starting 0, clock it to spawn the 2/1 on stage. So you can have a pretty massive board really quickly with this card.
There is a universe in which you can have 2 of the 2/1 Yukinas down at 0, which is really funny. But you know what this plays really nicely with? Is a standby combo that only affects one lane of your board. It summons to the front row and stands it. That's great. Guess what? You still have a climax on board. And when you get a reverse with these 2/1s and you have a climax on board, you can potentially go free +1. The deck basically builds itself, and there will be some high roll games where it just embarrasses some people. It's pretty fun. I like it. So let's talk about a weird card. 2/1 5k yellow. If you have 3 or more other characters, it becomes an 8k. At the beginning of your climax phase, you can accelerate, clock yourself from top of deck. If you do, it gains 5k, anti-event, anti-backup. You can also accelerate a second time, if you have 2 or more other characters, to give this on reverse blind sock and salvage. It is a more fairly costed Ame type effect from Hololive.
In SL World, there's cards that allow you to gain benefits when you accelerate. Is that going to make SL World meta?
Yes! Excel World, S tier.
Probably not.
And that's it. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back on Tuesday with a deck tech, gameplay on Thursday, and then the following week, a clock talk and 5 cards, 5 minutes. Until then, thank you so much for joining us. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe, and have a good one.
We'll see you then.